All right, today we're diving into something truly wild. It's a radical idea from the ancient philosophy of Kashmir Shaivism, and it's basically a map of consciousness itself. We're going to trace the entire path from the ultimate source of reality all the way down to the physical world we experience every day. So, let's kick things off with the one big question that unlocks this whole system. We usually think of the universe as just a bunch of stuff, right? Stars, planets, people, all separate objects. But what if that's completely wrong? What if all of reality is actually one single unified consciousness, just exploring what it can be? And get this isn't just some nice poetic idea. It is the absolute foundation of the incredible map we're about to explore together. Okay, so to really get our heads around this map, we have to go back, way back. We're talking before the Big Bang, before time and space even existed, before the very first particle popped into being. We're going right to the ultimate ground of all being. At this absolute ground zero, there's a state they call Paramashiva. Now, it's super important to understand this is not an empty void, not at all. Think of it as pure, unified awareness and bliss, just vibrating with the potential for everything that could ever possibly exist. The analogy they use is beautiful. It's like an entire forest packed into one single tiny seed. All the potential is there, just waiting for the right moment to unfold. So, how does that forest actually burst forth from the seed? Well, it all starts with something called spanda. Imagine the most profound, absolute silence you can. Spanda is the very first stir within that silence, a tiny, almost unnoticeable throb of aliveness. It's like the universe's first desire to know itself, to express itself. It's the first ripple that gets the whole cosmic ocean moving. And that first little throb, it immediately creates what looks like a split. On one side, you've got Shiva. Think of him as the still, quiet light of consciousness, the silent witness that just is. On the other side, you've got Shakti. She's the energy, the dynamic, creative power that actually does all the creating. But here's the kicker. They are never, ever truly separate. They're two sides of the same coin, totally inseparable, just like fire and its heat. So this initial dance between Shiva and Shakti, it isn't random. It unfolds down a kind of cosmic staircase that has 36 steps. These steps are called the tattvas. And this is basically the journey that consciousness takes as it kind of forgets its own infinite nature, descending from that pure unified light into what we experience as solid physical reality. Now, 36 steps can be a lot to take in, so we can group them into 4 main neighborhoods to make it a bit easier. We start in a realm of pure unity. Then things get really interesting. We pass through this incredible veil of limitation. This is what creates the individual soul and the raw stuff of nature, which then finally manifests as the physical world. Our minds, our senses, the elements, the whole shebang. Okay, this next part is where this ancient map suddenly becomes all about you. Ever wonder why we feel so separate, so limited? Why do we experience lack? And why do we feel so bound by time and space? Well, the answer lies in that second neighborhood we just mentioned. The key player here is a power called Maya. And honestly, the best way to think of it is like a cosmic dimmer switch. Imagine this infinite, blindingly bright light of universal consciousness. Maya just turns it down. It filters that light so that it can have the experience of being a finite, separate point of view. The experience of being you. And check this out. This is exactly how Maya works. It uses 5 specific filters, or cloaks, called the kanchukas. And they're fascinating. They take omnipotence, the power to do anything, and limit it to, well, I can only do some things. They take omniscience, knowing everything, and turn it into, I only know some things. Total completeness becomes that nagging feeling of, I want or I need. Eternity gets chopped up into time, and infinite freedom becomes being stuck right here in this one place. So this is the whole point, right? This ancient system gives a precise explanation for the human condition. That feeling of being small, incomplete, subject to birth and death, it isn't an accident, it's not a flaw. It's the direct result of these cosmic cloaks being put on. So our limitations aren't fundamentally who we are, they're just the filters that consciousness puts on to have a human experience. Okay, let's keep going down this rabbit hole. Because this system proposes that the very fabric of our mind and of reality itself is built from language. But we're not just talking about any language. We're talking about a kind of divine vibratory alphabet. This divine alphabet is called matrika, which literally means something like the matrix or the little mother. And the idea here is that the 50 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet aren't just symbols that people invented. No, they are fundamental frequencies, the raw vibratory code that constructs both our thoughts and the world we perceive. Wild, isn't it? And this is how our reality gets shaped. Our sense of a separate self, our ego, basically hijacks these cosmic letters. It weaves them into an endless inner story. I am this. I want that. I'm not good enough. We experience these thoughts as deeply personal and private, but in this view, we're just perceiving the universal energy of matrika, and it's getting filtered through our own limited perspective. So, how do you get out of this world dream? Well, the path to freedom isn't about trying to stop your thoughts. It's about a radical shift in perspective. It's about recognizing that the very energy creating your inner monologue is the divine creative power just playing in the form of language. You stop identifying with the story and start witnessing the storyteller. And this descent from universal energy to a personal thought, it happens in 4 stages. It starts as para, which is just a pure, silent hum of potential. Then it becomes pashyanti. That's that flash of insight, the aha moment before any words are formed. Next is majjhima, which is the level of your inner chatter, your mental thoughts. And finally, vaikari, where the thought becomes a spoken word or even solidifies into a physical object. And here we are, the final stop on our journey down the cosmic staircase. Those subtle levels of creation eventually densify into what we perceive as the physical world. The subtle potential for sound becomes space. The essence of touch becomes air. The idea of form becomes fire. Taste becomes water. And smell becomes solid earth. So we've just traced the entire map of creation, from a single point of unified light all the way down to a blade of grass. But this map isn't just for understanding how we got here. Its real purpose is to show us the way back home. In this worldview, the entire point of life becomes a process of remembering. It's about becoming a conscious explorer of your own inner universe, intentionally tracing these steps in reverse, from the dense physical world through the subtle senses, past the inner monologue, all the way back to the silent, blissful source of it all. So, I'll end with this thought. If this map is true, and that constant chatter in your head is actually the universe's creative power, just filtered through your unique perspective, what is it trying to remember about itself, through you?